Sing morning light, softly shine through. We're wrapped up in the moment, just me and you. Coffee's brewing slow, the world's still at ease. Cove TV's on, just the sun, us and the trees. Waking big beside you, feeling so complete. With every gentle touch, our love so sweet. Cannabis in the air, lifting up our souls, taking it slow, letting the good vibes roll. You and me and the morning haze, Cove TV's on. In our lazy days, the first hit of the day sets our hearts ablaze. Making big love in the soft sun's rays, cannabis kisses, smoke rings in the air. Sunday mornings with you, nothing can compare. The warmth of your smile, the calm of the breeze, our favorite strains whisper through the trees. Every puff we take, every song we hear, Cove TV's playing and it all feels clear. A love so deep in this quiet place, with a bowl in hand we find our space. Cannabis and coffee in the morning light, wake and bake together, everything feels right. You and me and the morning haze, Cove TV's on. In our lazy days, the first hit of the day sets our hearts ablaze. Making big love in the soft sun's rays, cannabis kisses, smoke rings in the air. Sunday mornings with you, nothing can compare. The world slows down just for a while, cannabis dreams and your gentle smile. Cove TV playing our favorite shows. With every hit, our connection grows. It's the little moments, the quiet and the slow. In your eyes I see everything I need to know. You and me and the morning haze, Cove TV's on. In our lazy days, the first hit of the day sets our hearts ablaze. Wake and bake love in the soft sun's rays, cannabis kisses, smoke rings in the air. Sunday mornings with you, nothing can compare. So here we are in our Sunday best, wake and bake mornings feeling so blessed. Cannabis love, Cove TV's glow. With you by my side, it's all I need to know. Sunrise glow so gentle, bright, coffee cup, my heart's delight. Cannabis mist in the air, friends we share this morning fare. Tropical breeze whispers low, we sip slow, feel the flow. Hands we hold, a peaceful beat. Life is sweet where hearts do meet. Sunday morning, pure and free, church bell rings in harmony. Coffee warm and glowing sun, cannabis dreams we've just begun. Gospel tunes we softly hum, Joyful hearts and beating drums, tropical skies wide and grand. Together we all understand. Peaceful shorebirds take to flight, nature paints a pure delight. Friends and laughter fill the space in this soft and sacred place. Cannabis calm in subtle grace, coffee warmth in our embrace. Hands circle dreams in morning light, Sunday sunrise pure and bright. Gospel tunes we softly hum, church bell rings in harmony. Coffee warm and glowing sun, cannabis dreams we've just begun. Sunrise through the palm trees, cup of coffee in my hand. Warm breeze whispers gently in this simple morning land. Smooth coffee scent rising, dark roast in my cup. Take a sip refreshing, just can't get enough. Coffee and cannabis in the Sunday air, feeling so righteous, not a single care. Cannabis in the garden, leaves so green and bright. Smooth waves in the distance, life feels so right. Coffee grounds on the table, sugar and some cream. Rolling up the green leaves in this peaceful dream. Coffee and cannabis in the Sunday air, feeling so righteous, not a single care. Cannabis in the garden, leaves so green and bright. Smooth waves in the distance, life feels so right. Coffee grounds on the table, sugar and some cream. Rolling up the green leaves in this peaceful dream. The sun is rising, the world's at peace. A Sunday morning, all worries cease. Cove TV's on, the day's just begun. We're chilling together under the morning sun. The smoke curls up like a gentle prayer. With coffee in hand, we've got time to spare. Cannabis in the air, and hearts at ease. Sunday's here to bless us with the softest breeze. Chillin Sunday morning, feeling so right. In the cove where the light's soft and bright. With every puff we let the stress unwind. In this peaceful moment, leave the world behind. Chillin Sunday morning, breathe it in slow. In the cove where the love and peace grow. The gentle rhythm, the waves on the shore. Cannabis harvest blooms and the soul wants more. We gather in peace in the cove's embrace. With every hit we find our grace. No rush, no race, just a tranquil sound on this holy morning. The calm is profound, together we rise as the clouds drift by, lifted by love as we touch the sky. Chillin Sunday morning, feeling so right. In the cove where the light's soft and bright. With every puff we let the stress unwind. In this peaceful moment, leave the world behind. Chillin Sunday morning, breathe it in slow. In the cove where the love and peace grow. In the stillness we find our way. Chillin' in the cove on this blessed day. The world outside can wait a while. We're here together sharing every smile. Let the smoke rise like hymns in the air. In this sacred space we've got time to care. We find our way, chilling in the cove on this blessed day. The world outside can wait a while. We're here together, sharing every smile. Let the smoke rise like hymns in the air. In this sacred space, we've got time to care. Sunday morning, feeling so right. In the cove where the light's soft and bright. With every puff we let the stress unwind. In this peaceful moment, leave the world behind. Chillin' Sunday morning, breathe it in slow. In the cove where the love and peace grow. So light it up, let the moment stay. In the cove where we'll drift away. Chillin' on this Sunday, soft and true. In the cove we're here, just me and you.
Good, beautiful Sunday morning, everybody. How is everybody doing this morning? What's up, Mr. Man Bear? How are you?
I am doing a lot better. I don't know if anyone noticed, I was a little off last night, had a bit of a migraine to deal with, but I'm feeling 100,000% man bear again, so I'm ready for this amazing chillin' Sunday morning.
Cheers, everybody. Go ahead and say
Yes, so, what do you got going on for weather? I got 37, I think.
We're at 47 here. You go every other?
Yeah.
Good morning, Ma. How are you this Sunday morning? I hope you're having an amazing, amazing day.
Welcome to Chillin' Sunday, Christina. We are going to have a great one.
Good morning, Dusty. How are you, dear? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful morning.
Good morning, Crystal. So good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Mark. How are you doing this morning, man? I hope you're having a wonderful morning.
Good morning, CJ. Oh, look at that sunrise. Beautiful.
It's crazy. Good morning, Candy Monkeys. How are you, dear? I hope everything's been well with you. Hopefully you're safe and sound.
Good morning, Vicky. My white tiger. And, yeah, she still kind of won last night.
Yeah.
You did kind of win.
For real.
There's really no losers at the Cove. I'm just saying.
That is so true. Good morning, David. How are you, man? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful morning.
What's going on, Kimmy? From the future. I hope tomorrow's good.
Good morning, Kay. How are you? I hope you are having a wonderful morning.
Good morning, Ashley Stevens. Oh, always good. The one with the one-liners.
Yes, she is always good with the one-liners. Before we do our first morning bowl of the day, I do want to say, if anybody's heard from Amber Hensley, please let somebody from the Cove know. We are super worried. I put a post out this morning. If you could share it out, that would be amazing. As far as I heard, nobody that I have heard or talked to has talked to her in almost 48 hours. So yeah, I know that her area got hit really bad.
Yeah. So on that note, let's check on anybody that we haven't heard from in a couple of days, just in case them or their family members have been affected. And all prayers go out to everybody affected, because that's absolutely devastating.
All right. Cheers, everybody. I hope everybody's having an amazing morning.
Go golden sun rise up slow. Coffee steam in the glow. Cannabis in the haze. Start our tropic days. Morning dew on the leaves. Coconut breeze in the trees. Roasting beans, smooth and dark, lighting up a morning spark. Coffee cup to lips so high. Cannabis under azure sky. Warmth in every single ray. Tropic love in morning play. Birds sing a tender tune in the light of early June. Cannabis leaves sway in mild. Coffee aroma running wild. Percussion rhythm so sweet. Sand warm beneath our feet. Cannabis whispers in the air. Coffee heartbeat softly share. Coffee cup to lips so high. Cannabis under azure sky. Warmth in every single ray. Tropic love in morning play. Percussion rhythm so sweet. Sand warm beneath our feet. Cannabis whispers in the air. Coffee heartbeat softly share. Coffee cup to lips so high. Cannabis under azure sky. Warmth in every single ray. Tropic love in morning play.
Cheers, everybody. Yeah, on the news, I saw that North Carolina, it's crazy bad down there.
Oh, yeah.
The last I heard from her that they were heading in the basement because the storm was like right over them and that a tree had crushed their neighbor's car. So I just hope
crazy. Yeah, no, we get pretty bad winters, but as far as like wind and stuff like that, we're nowhere near that kind of. But I'm telling you now, a few winters ago, man, minus 40 and stuff here.
Yeah, for real. Minnesota, we get those streamlined, straight line winds, and
yeah,
it gets so cold, man.
I guess we have a lot of tree protection in the way, and then in fire season we got a lot of matchsticks in fire season, so it's like, you know, opposite sides of the spectrum. But with the colder weather and everything, fire season's ending or ended already, which is great. I don't think some of the fires actually ever go out, which is weird. They're called zombie fires, actually. I didn't even know this. They kind of stay half lit underground and pop up, so we still have to watch. Like, yeah,
that's crazy.
It is. Yeah, I actually was reading up about it. Yeah, because they go dormant, right? So if there's a bad fire and winter, fall doesn't kick in fast enough, it just kind of stays dormant. And yeah, so we got to be careful with zombie fires. It's a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely, Candy Monkeys. I'm sure that it's just a cell phone issue. Like the news was saying that like there's cell phone towers and like nobody's able to get hold of anybody down there. But I will be the first one to say that Amber Hensley has not missed a Cove show without damn good reason, like having to work or family things or anything like that. And so,
actually, even when she was dealing with family things, she was still messaging saying, "Sorry, I can't come and watch." Like, so
for real, like when she's driving, she'll jump on the YouTube and just listen and everything like that. And so, yeah, I know that she's a super amazing supporter of the Cove and all sorts of amazing Can of Fam stuff. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so there is a post out. If you could share it out, tag somebody, maybe. I don't know if anybody's heard from like Todd Hensley. I don't know him personally. I've heard of him, but I know that that's a relative of hers.
Okay. Well, hey man, whatever helps. And if we could just get any kind of word from anybody.
Anybody. I just want to hear. I don't even need to talk to her personally. I just want to hear that she's okay.
Yeah. And like, Amber and anybody who's affected by this too, it's just we noticed that the one person we really cannot get a hold of is Amber. So that's why we're sorry. But yeah.
No, you're good. I know like Annie was going through really bad storms, but we did hear from her yesterday. Yeah, and like Heather had some bad storms. I've heard from her. I know Kay was going through some storms, but Kay, we've heard from Kay. Yeah, like you were saying, like Amber's really the only one we haven't heard from. 4 minutes out to 4:20, everybody.
Yeah, I'm busting nugs.
Morning update for September 29th. Man, just finishing up around here. I'm gonna start after the morning show. I'm gonna start loading everything in the trailer while it's nice and cool out this morning. Thank you, Christina. Other than that, a short afternoon show this morning, and then tear the studio down, and then we'll be off for a couple days.
I know. I'm like, so I get to sleep into like 6 a.m. Woohoo!
Dude, funny story last night. I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to this like popping and air gushing sound, and the plug came out of my fucking air mattress. So I'm like half asleep. I'm like, like plug it back in quick, and then I just went back to bed, and I just like slept in a big divot.
Yeah, you're like, I am not getting up, and you have one of those foot pumps too that are really annoying. So you're like, get up and actually put effort into it. Do you have like an electric pump?
I've got an electric pump, but the plug-in deal doesn't work on it, so it's battery powered. So like it takes a minute. So I just like turned it on and just let it fill up this morning while I was fucking making coffee or get my coffee ready and stuff like that. But I was just like, went back to sleep.
Yeah. We were talking about camping and how you set up for camping. I was like, oh man, you should see my tent, man. I put it up like a living room, man. I'll get a blow up couch in there, man. I'll get, a little mini, battery operated TV. I don't give a shit, man. No, when I went camping, man, I live good when I camp.
One of those crank TVs, bro. Those things are dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would be dope, man. If I get everything crank, really.
I've seen crank TVs, dude.
Okay. What was that freaking show? Something about the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. The storyline is oh my god! So they were running this crank that they said was like helping doing something. It was running the guy who was kidnapping them's power in the other room.
I will miss you too, Candy. I'll miss all of you, but it's a very, very temporary situation. It'll probably be, I'm guessing, 3 days off air.
So like Thursday we're looking at
I'm really shooting for a morning show Thursday, back up around by Thursday, but my deadline goal is to have everything up and running by Turf Wars.
Perfect.
So like that's worst case scenarios. But I would love to have everything set up like by Wednesday afternoon-ish.
Yes, because you just love seeing me win. So if you're ready here for Turf Wars.
Well, like they can run the wheel and all that stuff and all of that, but I'm the one that does all the tracking for it. I'm the one that has to come up with matches and all that stuff, and so it's more of a production deal than a actual running the game deal, because they are totally able to run the games and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I could produce I couldn't do what you do, and I'm not trying or asking to, man. No. You go right ahead with that, Beans. I love you, but you go ahead, man. I love you, and I see a little dip into what you do. No. Man Bear is good with what Man Bear does. Man Bear good. You go, Beans.
Candy Monkey says, that means, Hugo, you have a lot of reels to do in the next couple of days.
I know. I'm gonna have to go hit up my guy. Sorry, man.
Work issues. Sorry.
Oh my god. Has anybody actually had that work when they go to the plug? Oh, 420.
Happy 420, everybody.
It's a Sunday morning. Let the world slow down. Cove TV's on, feeling good all around. The sun's rising soft, casting gold on the sea. Cannabis clouds swirling, just you and me. Got the coffee brewed and the herb packed tight. A gentle breeze blowing, everything's right. We're taking it slow, no need to rush. Just a Sunday morning with a peaceful hush. Sunday morning slow jams on Cove TV. waking and baking, feeling so free. Smooth jazz playing with an R&B groove. Cannabis dreams set the mood and soothe. Let the morning unfold, let the good vibes stay. Sunday morning slow jams, it's our getaway. Hammock swinging easy, palm tree sway. Smoking in the cove, watching worries drift away. With every soft hit, we're lifted high underneath the blue of the tropical sky. The saxophone's calling, the rhythm's just right. With Cove TV mornings, everything's light. From the sand to the sea, we're floating along. Sunday morning slow jams, where we all belong. Sunday morning slow jams on Cove TV. Waking and baking, feeling so free. Smooth jazz playing with an R&B groove. Cannabis dreams set the mood and soothe. Let the morning unfold, let the good vibes stay. Sunday morning slow jams, it's our getaway. The ocean's humming and the music's slow. With every little talk, let the moments flow. Cove TV's here to start the day right. Sunday morning slow jams, feeling so right. Let the morning slow jams on Cove TV. Waking and baking, feeling so free. Smooth jazz playing with an R&B groove. Cannabis dreams set the mood and soothe. Let the morning unfold, let the good vibes stay. Sunday morning slow jams, it's our getaway. So here's to Sunday, the Cove's soft embrace. Smoking and relaxing in our happy place. With cannabis love and the sunrise gleam. Sunday morning slow jams, living the dream.
Nice, very nice.
Cheers.
I love that one.
Good morning, Heather. How are you, dear? I hope you're having a wonderful morning.
I don't know about you, but I love that song, man. Fuck.
I fucking love
Yeah.
the Sunday morning
That-
songs, man. For real.
That song, just drop a fuck just to describe it. I fucking love that song. You gotta F-bomb that song in a good way. Positive F-bomb Sunday.
Were you? I know you popped down for a little bit last night.
Yeah.
Did you catch the song that me and Magic did together?
Dude, yeah, I know. I really want to. He messaged me a while back and wanted some lines, and I was just couldn't think of it. I would love to do a collab with him too, because when I get that certain right of baked, man, I like can write stuff, but I gotta get like the man bear highness of highs. You know what I mean? I loved it, bro. I absolutely fucking loved it.
For those who might have missed it last night, we'll play that before we dive into our This Day in History. This is a collaboration with me and Magic and Mad Productions, and he did all the rhymes on it, and I did the music and the production of it. So, cheers, everybody.
It's Magic Beans, Mad Productions, Cove TV. Let's get it.
Around the time where paths collide, where friends are found and trust is tried. Through ups and downs, we rise and fall, but we've got each other through it all.
See y'all alone in the rhyme of time. Yeah, I got your back and you got mine. I got some buds here to breaking up fine. Hold your lighter up so we can all get fried.
In the realm of time where our paths collide, where friends are found and trust is tried. Through ups and downs, we rise and fall, but we've got each other through it all.
Got each other through it all. Got this empty cone, let's go and back it up. Sir, your Beansy Bear just showed up. Kale's got this bad tam, Teddy's got treats. If you got complaints, here's Wally T.
Time flows like a river, steady and fast. Friendship's the anchor that holds us steadfast. Laughter and struggle, we take them in stride, writing our stories side by side. In the round of time where our paths collide, where friends are found and trust is tried. Through ups and downs, we rise and fall, but we've got each other through it all.
Got it through it all. Stone and roulette, time to shed those tears. Can't see my hands from the smoke around here. So if you wanna go, can't go stop it now. Always representing that no damn
In the
mafia.
round of time where our paths collide, where friends are found and trust is tried. Through ups and downs, we rise and fall, but we've got each other through it all.
Got it through it all. Knows damn mafia.
It's so good, man. I sent it to him and I was like, how do you like the hook on all that? Do you like that? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, it's yours, dude. Put bars on it. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I know, man. I always really wanted to get into the music part of stuff, but like, I just don't have the production side of it. You know what I mean? Like, I could have pages and pages of bars and lyrics and songs, but I just don't have the fruition to, you know what I mean? Keep going on it. Like,
Well,
I want
once I
to
get back up full time, man, we'll collab.
Oh yeah. I'm actually, yeah, because when I'm in a good mood, man, you've seen me. When it's summertime, I'm dancing around, I'm in good mood, man. My mind's going like crankworks, you know, like, man, we're gonna have some good
mind
collabs.
telling him yes, but his old ass body is sometimes telling him no.
Man Bear Rhymes keeping you in time.
Hey.
See how easy? See, I just wrote my first hit.
Just like Lickety Split.
Like that, man. Yeah. No, I can't wait for the future, man. I think October holds some amazing things for Cove TV and all of you wonderful people who have been tuning in every morning, every afternoon, and every evening on our wonderful shows, games, and everything. Yeah, we're gonna come back so strong. You guys are gonna be like, "What? Say what?
Like, is this the same channel?
Yeah, what? Is that Beans and Manbear and Coffee and Yep? What's going on?" I mean, the good thing is,
what we was telling you before.
I don't want to do it. I'll wake someone up doing that shit, but I can do it quiet. That's what I was telling you before. I can't remember what that's from, man. Like, it's Boondocks.
I don't know either, but it's fucking hilarious.
I'm pretty sure it's from the cartoon The Boondocks, but
all right, you guys are last to this day in history for a couple days.
I know.
29th. Also, you can definitely check out Vicky Bauer's YouTube. She does this day. She has this day in history for every day of the year from multiple years. This one is the one we're about to play is from 2020. So much love. Here we go, everybody. Make sure you check out Vicky Bauer's also. She's the saint. She's a fucking saint, I tell you.
Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for September 29th. September 29th is the 272nd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 273rd in leap years, with 93 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is paradox. As amusing as the idea is, paradox does not refer to two doctors. No, paradox is a noun that means a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. Or, more simply put, something that seems contradictory or contrary but proves to be true. The word paradox comes to us through Greek, originally from Latin before that, with the word parts para, meaning distinct from, and doxa, meaning opinion, an opinion apart from. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. Ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others. You can do that with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. Also, there's a link in the show notes to the This Day in History playlist. You can check out that playlist for other days in the series. I'll put it up in the cards also on YouTube. If you're watching on Vimeo, it'll just be in the show notes. All righty, and with that, we're going to start with September 29th, 1547, which is thought to be the birthday of Spanish novelist, poet, and playwright Miguel de Cervantes. Now, why do I say it that way, thought to be the birthday? Well, it was a long time ago, and they kept records differently back then, what records they did keep. So the actual date of his birth is uncertain. However, his baptism was recorded on October 9th, and it was customary in Spain at that time for babies to be named after the saint on whose feast day they were born. Today's the feast day of Saint Michael, so it's not unreasonable to think that this might be his birthday. Clever bit of detective work there, don't you think? An earthquake struck Antigua, Guatemala on September 29, 1717. This was a violent earthquake, estimated at about a 7.4 magnitude, destroying much of the city's architecture. The United States Department of War first established a regular army with a strength of several hundred men on September 29, 1789. The first United States Congress adjourned on September 29, 1789. The Metropolitan Police of London was founded on September 29, 1829. This is the birthday of Italian-American physicist and academic Enrico Fermi, born September 29, 1901. A brilliant man, he demonstrated the first self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction and has several different scientific principles named after him. The Fermi paradox, for instance, brings up the apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence for extraterrestrial civilizations and various high estimates for their probability. Very interesting thought experiment. I've placed a link in the show notes to more information about the Fermi paradox. Enrico Fermi lived to the age of 53. The cornerstone of the Cathedral Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, better known as the Washington National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., was laid on September 29, 1907. Italy declared war on the Ottoman Empire on September 29, 1911. The first American track and field championships for women were held on September 29, 1923. This is the birthday of American singer, guitarist, and songwriter Mark Farner, born September 29, 1948. He was the lead singer and guitarist for the group Grand Funk Railroad back in the 70s. He's pretty much stayed in the business since then, by the way. Still alive, Mark Farner turned 72 in 2020. The convention establishing the European Organization for Nuclear Research, better known as CERN, was signed on September 29, 1954. The Beatles mixed the new John Lennon song, I Am the Walrus, on September 29, 1967. John Lennon learned that a primary teacher at his old primary school was having his students analyze the Beatles' lyrics. So he added a verse of nonsense words. And in more Grand Funk Railroad news, their single, We're an American Band, went number 1 on the U.S. singles chart on September 29, 1973, which must have been a nice birthday present for Mark Farner. NASA launched STS-26 on September 29, 1988. This was the first mission since the Challenger disaster. 83 years to the day after the first cornerstone was laid, the construction of the Cathedral Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, better known as the Washington National Cathedral, was completed on September 29, 1990, which just goes to prove that most projects take longer and cost more than you think they're going to. The YF-22, which later came to be called the F-22 Raptor, flew for the first time on September 29, 1990. Calder Hall, the world's first nuclear power station located in England, had become operational in 1956. Operating all these years, it was deactivated and deconstruction of it began on September 29th, 2007 with the demolition of the cooling towers. It takes a long time to take apart a nuclear power plant. The 8.1 magnitude 2009 Samoa earthquake and tsunami took place on September 29th, 2009, killing 189 and injuring hundreds. And our last item for today, the original 1962 contract signed by the Beatles and their manager, Brian Epstein, sold at Sotheby's for over $500,000 on September 29th, 2015. This document is thought to be one of the most important contracts in popular music. I'd have to agree. And I think that's going to do it for us today. I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. I always do. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. If you enjoyed this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos, also in the show notes and in the iCards on YouTube.
Yes, please give Vicky Bowers a like, a subscribe, a share. Good morning, Dee Dee. How are you, man? Same, man. I hope she's okay. If anybody's heard from Amber, please let us know. Please let us know. I have a new song we could play. A different new song.
Another one? Yeah, I'm good. Don't mind me. I'm doodling.
All right, you're good, man. Much love, everybody. We'll do a song or two, and then we'll do our morning speaker cheers, everybody.
Feet hit the sand with the joint in hand. Let's sway with the river, light up the strand. Moving to the beat, no need to rush. Feel the groove, it's like a summer crush. We're rolling hips, sparking tips under moonlit skies. Dancing through the smoke, feeling so high. Step, swing and smile, let the good vibes flow. Swinging and smoking everywhere we go. Take a puff, feel the beat sway left to right. Lift it up high, dancing through the night. With every draw, every groove, let's twist and shout. It's all about swinging and smoking, no doubt. Swinging and smoking under stars so bright. Pass around, pop it down, everything feels light. Twirl the world, let the music lead the way. Swinging and smoking till the break of day. Swinging and smoking, let the laughter roll. Feel the joy in every move, every soul. Puff, puff, pass, let's spark the groove. Swinging and smoking, come on, make your body move. Hands in the air, feet shuffling free. Moving through the waves, sailing out at sea. From the sandy shores to the Cove delight. In this paradise, we're a night in the night. Got the vibe on high in this island escape. Swaying through the smoke in a lush green cape. We're all in tune, feel the island's embrace. Swinging and smoking, find your place. Take a puff, feel the beat sway left to right. Lift it up high, dancing through the night. With every draw, every groove, let's twist and shout. It's all about swinging and smoking, no doubt. Who's feeling lifted? We're feeling high. Who's got the groove? Yeah, we've got the vibe. Who's rolling and rocking in paradise? Swinging and smoking, feeling so nice. Swinging and smoking under stars so bright. Pass around, puff it down, everything feels light. Twirl the world, let the music lead the way. Swinging and smoking till the break of day. Swinging and smoking, let the laughter roll. Feel the joy in every move, every soul. Puff, puff, pass, let's spark the groove. Swinging and smoking, come on, make your body move. We're feeling high. Who's got the groove? Yeah, we've got the vibe. Who's rolling and rocking in paradise? Swinging and smoking, feeling so nice. Swinging and smoking under stars so bright. Pass around, puff it down, everything feels light. Twirl the world, let the music lead the way. Swinging and smoking till the break of day. Swinging and smoking, let the laughter roll. Feel the joy in every move, every soul. Puff, puff, pass, let's spark the groove. Swinging and smoking, come on, make your body move.
Yeah, that's a
Dude.
dope one.
That's the hammer. That slaps good, man.
Thank you. Christina says that's a whole ass vibe. I
Yeah,
really like that.
yeah.
I need
Can
one
you
more
believe?
song.
Sorry. Can you believe there's 93 days left?
It's wild, and I disapprove,
I
and
disapprove.
I want to disagree, but I don't think that's how that works.
It's 93 days. Spelled with a Z to save the world. Sorry, I don't know why. Justin Timberlake said 4 minutes to save the world. It popped into my head.
All right, we'll play one more song, and then we'll do our morning speaker, everybody.
Sounds great, man.
The sun's hanging high, afternoon's here. Palm trees sway and the sky's so clear. Grab your stash, take it slow. Take time to talk, let the good vibes flow. Waves roll in, a rhythm so sweet. The sand is warm beneath your feet. In the cove, we take it real slow. Take time to talk, let the stress go. Take time to talk in the afternoon. Feel the warmth as it fills the room. Cannabis clouds drifting so high. Kick back, relax, watch the day go by. Take time to talk, breathe it in deep. In the cove where the chill runs deep. Every puff brings peace to your mind. Take time to talk, leave it all behind. Feel the breeze as it kisses your face. Find your peace in the sunny place. Spark it up, let the hours fade. In the cove where memories are made. Afternoon sun paints a perfect light. As you talk, everything feels right. Take your time, let the high take hold. In the cove where the stories are told. Take time to talk in the afternoon. Feel the warmth as it fills the room. Cannabis clouds drifting so high. Kick back, relax, watch the day go by. Take time to talk, breathe it in deep. In the cove where the chill runs deep. Every puff brings peace to your mind. Take time to talk, leave it all behind. Afternoon, feel the warmth as it fills the room. Cannabis clouds drifting so high. Kick back, relax, watch the day go by. Take time to talk, breathe it in deep. In the cove where the chill runs deep. Every puff brings peace to your mind. Take time to talk, leave it all behind. Afternoon, feel the warmth as it fills the room. Cannabis clouds drifting so high. Kick back, relax, watch the day go by. Take time to talk, breathe it in deep. In the cove where the chill runs deep. Every puff brings peace to your mind. Take time to talk, leave it all behind.
Much love, Christina. That's fucking awesome. That is so cool. I don't know. The morning show is amazing. I love the Cove for everything it's become.
Yes, I 100% agree. Sorry, I was trying to read and think at the same time.
You're good, man. It's Sunday.
Yes, Sunday. We have minimal thinking today. I think I'm going to start writing stuff down more. It's not that I forget stuff. I feel that when I write stuff on my phone, I never go and look at my little notepad on my phone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I got lyrics. I got stuff that I was like, I can't forget this. And now I don't even go and look at it. So I'm going to start physically writing shit down. So when I see my papers, I'm like, oh, I should look at that.
The biggest thing I found that helps me, especially with production shits, is just a simple post-it note, because I can write notes on it and then like tear it off as, you know, like when I was doing like 4 shows a day, I would write down on here what I would need to get done, And then when it was done, I'd be able to tear it off and have a new sheet, or I'd be able to just like set it somewhere. So set it and fucking get it.
Yeah, like when everyone else was actually doing shows like all day long, it was like what was it? We had Defockery, we had Zen's show, we had this show, and I was like, yeah, man, I couldn't get anything straight for a while there because it was a lot of information, a lot of stuff to kind of keep track of.
For real, it gets to be a lot, especially when you have a lot going on. So
yeah, but anyways, I understand about the Chillin in the Cove because that's what we do.
All right, our morning speaker, we'll do a good Dr. K this morning, about a half hour, so not too much terrible longer than normal.
So if I'm sitting in this computer chair all day, right, and I'm not like exercising or anything like that, if I'm not physically active, what I've actually seen an alarming amount of is young people that have like blood pressure problems. So I'm talking about 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds that will have symptomatic dizziness when they stand up from their computer chair because they've been sitting in the computer chair all day.
There are many people who will offer solutions for life. Do this and you will be happy, do that and be happy. It is my opinion that you must understand yourself first. That is why we made Dr. K Guide. Check it out, na?
So let's talk a little bit about brain fog. So I think brain fog is an increasingly important thing to discuss because it seems to be like rapidly rising. So we know that, for example, 19 out of 20 people on the planet now have basically had COVID. We also know that about 10% of people, or up to about 10%, the number's probably closer to 7 or 8% of people who have COVID have brain fog. But we also know that brain fog seems to be increasing like across the board. And the reason that this is such a big problem is because brain fog is one of the worst things to have for a couple of reasons. The first is that if you have brain fog and you go see a medical professional, chances are they'll like punt you somewhere, like they'll tell you to go see a therapist, or they won't really give you any sort of constructive help, right? So if you go to a doctor and you say, well, like I've got, my brain doesn't seem to be working quite right. Well, first of all, like, what does that even mean? And then the doctor may order some kinds of tests, right? They may sort of check you to see if you have an infection. They may sort of check your blood counts. They may check a couple of things. But at the end of the day, brain fog really isn't a diagnosable condition. And it also appears to not really be a treatable condition. So a lot of times what happens when people struggle with brain fog, which by the way, can be like incredibly debilitating. So when we talk about brain fog, what we're sort of talking about is like difficulties with concentration, difficulties with short and long-term memory, usually more short-term memory. So people are incredibly forgetful. People tend to find that they require a lot more effort to do like basic cognitive tasks. So studying is harder, work is harder. It just seems to be kind of like incredibly debilitating without sort of having any kind of like, smoking gun in terms of what's causing it. So oftentimes we sort of accept that like, okay, yeah, like if I've got the flu or COVID, that's the reason it's hard for me to work. But the problem with brain fog is that it tends to persist for very long periods of time, doesn't have a clear cause. And then even if we go seek help from medical professionals, oftentimes they'll order some tests or maybe evaluate us, but then they don't really have any sort of like treatment or anything significant they can do to help us, which is exactly why it's so frustrating. The other thing that tends to be kind of unfortunate in a lot of ways is that a lot of times if you go see a medical doctor and they can't find something wrong with you, but you are still struggling, and the ways in which you are struggling are not testable, right? So this isn't something like I've got wheezing in my chest, or my blood pressure is very high, or my heart rate, I've got an arrhythmia, I have a rash or something like that. If it's something like cognitive, what usually medical doctors will do is if they can't sort of find something very specific, what they're going to do is send you to a mental health professional. They'll refer you to a psychiatrist, because if we can't find what's wrong with your body, it sort of must be in your head. Or the best doctors will still sort of acknowledge that it's psychosomatic, which we'll get to in a minute, but they'll sort of send you to a mental health professional. And then the problem kind of becomes, okay, so let's say I go see a therapist, whereas like I don't know if you guys know this, but as you train to become a therapist, you get a total of 0 hours of training in how to deal with brain fog, right? It's like.
Good morning, Martin. How are you, man? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful middle of the night, I believe. Martin's rocking in South Africa. We're just doing our morning speaker. Oh, my internet's getting weird. See how it goes.
Like, it's not a DSM diagnosis, so it's not like a psychiatric illness, which is what people are trained in. We're trained in stuff like trauma and anxiety and depression, but brain fog really isn't something that we're taught about. And so then the problem is that the answer that you're kind of given is mental health help, which can be helpful in some ways. But then the other problem is that as we learn, as we'll sort of discover today, brain fog actually is not a psychiatric illness. There's a lot of strong evidence that it is actually physiologic in nature and neurologic in nature. So the solutions that people with brain fog are being given are ones that are actually like not very useful, like scientifically. So let's kind of tunnel down into this and understand a little bit more about what brain fog is and what we can do about it. So the good news is that we do have a lot of research recently into sort of what causes brain fog, or what are some of the culprits. And the neat thing about that is as we discover what the mechanisms of brain fog are, we'll also naturally start to discover what are some potential solutions. So let's kind of dive into this.
Hey, what up, Stoney? How you feeling today, man? Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday morning. We're just doing our Cove TV Morning speaker.
Okay, so brain fog, first of all, appears to be increasing. So as we kind of tunnel down into this, people, as brain fog has been sort of on the rise, and as people have been sort of getting COVID, what we've discovered is that like the interest in brain fog is increasing, the research in brain fog is increasing, and there are a couple of key things that we've learned. The first is that brain fog seems to be associated with inflammation, and specifically mast cell inflammation, okay? Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. The first is that if things are inflammatory in nature, first of all, we sort of can kind of infer that they're not psychiatric in nature, or that gets a little bit complicated, but there seems to be a physiologic cause, and specifically the target seems to be mast cells. So there's a lot of evidence that shows that mast cells are actually correlated with the extent of brain fog. And what we sort of have discovered is that brain fog appears to be like inflammation, specifically within our central nervous system or brain. So I don't know if you guys have sort of felt that, like, you know, if you get the flu or COVID or some kind of infection and you have this whole body inflammation, or if you have something like lupus, what you're going to experience is some amount of cognitive impairment, right? You don't feel quite as energetic. It's hard to study. It's hard to focus. Your short-term memory will be negatively impacted. And so we sort of know that inflammation can cause these problems. And we also know from lots of research that mast cells seem to be implicated. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that this inflammation also seems to be associated with obesity.
Good morning, Vicky. Have a wonderful day at work, honey. We're just doing our morning speaker.
Now, I know that there's a lot of tension on the internet nowadays around fat phobia and things like that. I'm not trying to be fat phobic or place value judgments on people who are overweight. But what we do know, this is something that a lot of people don't realize, is that adipocytes, or fat storage cells in our body, are not just storage. They're actually endocrinologically active and immunologically active. So what that means is that the number of adipocytes, or the size of adipocytes that we have in our body, correlates with a certain amount of inflammatory activity, or correlates with some amount of endocrine activity. So we know that these are not just benign storage parts of our body. They're actually physiologically active and can actually lead to inflammation, okay? And we also know that obesity is actually correlated with brain fog. A couple of other things that we sort of have discovered is that when it comes to the mast cells are actually either on themselves or right next to the mast cells. We have these things called CRH receptors. And CRH is essentially a stress, it's not a stress hormone itself, but it's a signal that causes the release of a stress hormone. So what we sort of know is that here we've got our CRH receptor, and let's say here's a mast cell. And so when CRH comes in over here, it activates the mast cell. The key thing here is that if we say, okay, inflammation is one of the causes of brain fog, and it's mediated through the mast cell, what triggers the mast cell? Well, it seems that stress, specifically CRH, is one of the key things that induces mast cell activation, which then in turn leads to brain fog symptoms, okay? And you may say, well, like, what's the point of all this, all right? Like, I don't understand why we're learning this science. Well, the reason we're learning the science is because hopefully as we start to understand the mechanisms, this will also open the path to understanding how we can sort of combat brain fog. Okay. The next thing that's kind of really interesting is that brain fog is also associated with a condition called POTS. So POTS is postural orthostatic hypotension syndrome, which is essentially a condition that has to do with low blood pressure, specifically that is postural in nature. So if you want to get kind of a quick understanding of what it feels like to have POTS, if you are laying down in bed and you jump upright out of bed, first of all, don't do this if you've got blood pressure problems because you could fall over. But if you jump right up, what you'll sometimes notice is that if you stand up suddenly, you'll start to get a little bit of dizziness. And what was responsible for the dizziness is that as we stand up, the blood flow to our brain actually decreases. And it takes a few seconds for our heart and our vasculature to kind of adjust to the effect of gravity. Because remember that when we're laying down, right, so we're not really fighting against gravity. But when we stand up, now our heart and blood vessels actually have to pump blood this way to sort of get to increase cerebral perfusion or to get blood flow to our brain. So some of y'all may have experienced that if you stand up suddenly, you'll feel dizzy for a second or two, and then your body essentially compensates. What happens in people with POTS is that their ability to compensate is somehow impaired. So when they stand up or sit up, they tend to have low blood pressure, which impacts their cerebral blood flow. The key thing here is that we know that brain fog is associated with low cerebral perfusion, which is a fancy way of saying we know that people with brain fog actually have less blood going to their brain. Okay. So it requires more blood flow to complete particular cognitive tasks. So the other way to kind of think about it is if you've got one person with brain fog and one person without brain fog, the amount of blood that this person needs to complete a memory task is higher versus the amount of blood that this person needs is relatively lower. So people with brain fog, there seems to be something around cerebral perfusion as a cause of brain fog. Another thing that's really interesting is that as people have sort of looked at certain chemical compounds, and they've essentially found that flavonoids, and specifically something called luteolin, seems to reduce inflammation, has a neuroprotective effect, and appears to improve brain fog, okay? Now, we got to talk about flavonoids and luteolin for a second. Something has been happening recently with our diet. So we know that, for example, people are eating more processed foods, which is a part of the problem. But one of the reasons why I think that brain fog is actually getting a lot worse is because of the way in which our food is actually grown. So over the last, let's say, 20 to 50 years, we've started to use a lot of fertilizers. And I'm not like anti-GMO or anything like that, but we have selected for vegetables. And so flavonoids are oftentimes found from green leafy vegetables. So the rate at which vegetables are being grown is actually increasing. So it used to take, let's say, like 6 months to grow a crop of spinach. And now we've really accelerated their growth rate using certain kinds of genetic modifications and fertilizers. And the result of that is that, sure, it grows really quickly, but the nutrient density is actually decreasing. So we know that with some kinds of food specifically, so in some ways, the nutrient density is exactly the same that it used to be. But in other kinds, there are some kinds of nutrients which the faster you grow the plant, the less the plant kind of absorbs particular things or is able to create particular things. And so what we're actually finding is that there's a correlation between rapid growth of a plant is inversely correlated with its nutrient density. And this is something that I sort of discovered kind of in an interesting way. So I went hiking last year in Alaska and I found some wild raspberries. And the wild raspberries were like really, really small. They're like nowhere near the size of like the raspberry that you get, at a grocery store. And so we were picking wild raspberries and eating them, and like they were super sour. Like they didn't taste, they didn't look as beautiful. They sort of like tasted like incredibly sour, but there was something oddly delicious about the wild raspberries that when I went back and like got my supermarket raspberries, like sure, they were big and they were juicy and they were sweet, but there was something that I could almost like tell a difference between like the nutrient density between the wild raspberry and the one that I could get at the supermarket. So there is some evidence that as, we're sort of having more and more rapidly growing foods, that there's a correlation with sort of a decrease in nutrient density. And this becomes really, really important because when it comes to absorption, we only absorb about 10% of flavonoids from our diet. So what that means is that our body is very, very inefficient at absorbing some of these compounds, which in turn means that if we're reducing the nutrient density from our foods, it makes it like sort of like since our absorption is so low, if we kind of cut the nutrient density in half, we're ending up with a lot less of these compounds in our diet. And then as a result, we're sort of having less of this inflammatory protective effect and neuroprotective effect. A couple of other things that we've sort of found that are associated with brain fog are poor sleep. So about 90% of people with brain fog will report having poor sleep or insufficient sleep. And then the last thing that's kind of interesting is that we also know that dehydration appears to be correlated with brain fog as well. And in one study, 88% of people who had brain fog qualified or reported some degree of dehydration. So this is kind of interesting, right? Because now we're starting to see that, first of all, and I want to show you all one other thing just directly from a paper. There's also some evidence that, just to kind of, the last thing is, what about things like depression? So there's actually some studies that have specifically examined psychiatric comorbidities and brain fog. And what they've actually found is that psychiatric comorbidities are not associated with the cognitive impairment of brain fog, at least in certain inflammatory conditions. This is a paper about chronic fatigue syndrome. So we know that brain fog that's sort of caused by these like sort of mysterious inflammatory conditions appear to be not psychiatric in nature, which is really, really important. And I think this is actually what's really unfortunate, is because like a lot of times doctors will send people to mental health professionals to deal with brain fog because they sort of don't know what else to do. And if we can't figure out what's wrong with you, let's send you to a therapist because they'll be able to sort it out. But as we take a look at this, what we actually find is that there's a lot of physiologic sources of brain fog. So now let's take a look at these 6 things and try to understand a little bit about, okay, like if these are the causes of brain fog, and that's, we're not quite there yet. So this is just some evidence that implicates these are some of the mechanisms. What does that tell us about why brain fog is getting worse? Now that we sort of know these are the things that are involved with brain fog, what's going on in our society with all these things? The first thing is that obesity is on the rise. Okay, so what we're going to do is just take a quick look at these and very simply try to figure out, is this getting worse in society or not? Is obesity getting worse? Absolutely. Is general inflammation getting worse? Absolutely. Is stress getting worse? Absolutely. Now, here's an interesting one. What about blood pressure, right? Is blood pressure on the whole getting worse? And what we actually discover is that as we are getting to a more and more sedentary lifestyle, what we're starting to do is have a deconditioned cardiovascular system. So if I'm sitting in this computer chair all day, right, and I'm not like exercising or anything like that, if I'm not physically active, what I've actually seen an alarming amount of is young people that have like blood pressure problems. So I'm talking about 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds that will have symptomatic dizziness when they stand up from their computer chair because they've been sitting in the computer chair all day. And so we're seeing that this kind of stuff, this sedentary lifestyle, is actually getting worse as well. The other thing that we sort of mentioned already is that there's, let's say, vague, non-conclusive, but strongly suggestive data that our diet as a whole is getting worse. And this isn't just about processed foods. This is also about the lack of nutrient density in a lot of our fruits and vegetables. Is sleep getting worse? Absolutely, right? So as technology usage gets worse, we've got issues with blue light, impaired melatonin production, low quality sleep, right? Not to mention all these other things like lack of physical exercise and stress and stuff like that, that sleep on the whole is getting worse. And what about dehydration? Are we as a whole getting dehydrated? And this is one where I'd say, like, I'm not really too sure. So we do know, for example, that in one study specifically on POTS, that 88% of people are associated, or who have brain fog also will sort of endorse some degree of dehydration. And this is also important from a blood pressure standpoint, because proper hydration is one of the most important ways to keep our blood pressure up. Specifically when someone has been in like a car accident or something like that, to keep blood going to people's brain, what we'll sort of do is use 2 wide bore IVs to pump in saline or blood products into people. So one of the ways that we maintain blood pressure in the brain is by actually like injecting people with saline, right? So we sort of like give them bunches and bunches of fluid. And as we increase their fluid, it maintains their cerebral perfusion. So what we're sort of seeing in society today is I think we're seeing an increase in caffeine intake, which is dehydrating. And this is especially a problem for people with brain fog. Because what we sort of found is that some people will treat brain fog with things like stimulants. But what I've really found is that a lot of people who are struggling to focus, what are they going to do? They're going to drink coffee, right? So we see that brain fog is oftentimes associated with a higher level of caffeine intake. And generally speaking, a lot of our diet has become unhealthy and people may not be drinking enough water. It kind of depends on who you are, where you are.
Good morning, Brother Copsey. How you doing, man? I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday morning. We're just hanging out about halfway through our morning speaker.
But one of the things that I've definitely seen with brain fog is an increase in caffeine intake that's almost compensatory, that can result in some amount of dehydration. And as we get dehydrated, what we're actually doing is potentially making our blood pressure worse. Okay. So now the question becomes, all right, so if this is like what's associated with brain fog, like the quick question is, okay, what do I do about it? Right. And this is where the sort of frustrating thing, sometimes when you go to a medical professional and they don't know what's wrong with you, is they'll tell you to just be healthier, right? They'll say, okay, if you've got brain fog, like, why don't you just do the diet and exercise, right? Just exercise more, diet more, spend less time on your screen, just get better sleep. We're kind of given these like general like ideas about, you know, like what you should do to get healthy. Like those are just the general.
Good morning, Lebo. How are you doing, man? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Yes, please, if anybody's heard from Amber Hensley, reach out to anybody from the Cove and let us know. We just want to hear that she's okay.
Generally healthy things to do. And it can be quite devastating because a lot of people will have brain fog and they'll go to doctors and they'll go to therapists and people aren't really able to help them much. The good news, this is good or bad news, depending on how you look at it, is that a lot of times, you know, when people have brain fog, they actually end up in my office because, you know, so prior to doing this whole healthy gamer thing, my primary area of interest was actually evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine. So I was focused a lot on sort of scientifically valid meditation techniques, yoga techniques, herbs, things like that. So I had a clinic where people would refer their patients to me who were interested in like more natural remedies. So what I sort of found as a clinician is that when people would get referred to me a lot, right? So what would happen is like some doctor would be like, okay, oh yeah, like this person is complaining of these vague stuff. Like let's send it to Dr. Kanoja because Dr. Kanoja handles these people well. So there's a psychiatrist, this person has something wrong with their head, right? So let's send them to a psychiatrist. So they would come to me. And the thing is, I'm a psychiatrist, right? So I'm a psychiatrist. So I'm trained in evaluating people for mental illness. And as these people come to my office and I kind of evaluate them and they've got this vague like brain fog sort of stuff, what I sort of quickly conclude is that I don't think this person has mental illness. I don't think this person is like ill in their mind. I don't think they have anxiety. I don't think this is depression. This isn't bipolar disorder. It's not like their mood is very bad, kind of is the root cause. Oftentimes what we'll see in brain fog is that their mood is bad, but that's secondary to being unable to do things. So it's hard for me to study. It's hard for me to work. You know, I'm not doing as well. I'm not progressing. My energy levels are low. I can't think. I can't concentrate. That's what causes the low mood. It's not like the low mood comes first. It's a consequence of. So then I'm kind of stuck in this situation where these people are coming to me for help. And it's like, you know, I'm kind of the last stop, right? On the train to nowhere, let's say. And so I'm sort of trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to help these people? And the good news is that actually, like, I've had really good success. I can think of maybe one or two patients. And if you're watching this, I'm still sorry about not being able to help you substantially. But for the most part, I'd say about 80 to 90% of the people that I've worked with who have brain fog, I've actually been able to help pretty substantially. And
Good morning, Magic. How are you this morning, man? I hope you're having a wonderful morning. We're just doing our morning speaker, doing a Dr. K.
It wasn't like I therapized them. What we actually found is that by targeting all of these different dimensions, it can be actually, you can sort of figure out a good plan to sort of improve your brain fog. So a couple of other things. So another medical disclaimer that this is something that what I'm going to share with you all now is stuff that I have found useful in my clinical practice. I myself used some of these interventions. Like, so I had pretty bad COVID about a year ago and was also noticing some amount of brain fog. So I kind of went through my own like brain fog regimen and I found that like I basically am completely recovered from that. But remember that this is not medical advice and that each and every one of you should really talk to a doctor about all of these things and sort of try to figure out a customized plan. But here are a couple of things that work. The first is yoga or Tai Chi. And specifically, I found Shirshasana to be very effective. So Shirshasana is a headstand pose. So it's this particular asana where you're upside down, right? So it's a yoga posture where you're upside down. It's definitely something that requires some degree of training. So I wouldn't try that at home. You really need a good teacher to teach you how to do it. But Shirshasana is literally like you're just doing a headstand, right? So your head is at the bottom and your feet are at the top. And the cool thing about Shirshasana is that it really trains your body to maintain blood pressure to your brain. So it really like wreaks havoc on your cerebrovascular system and your vascular system, not in a negative way, but it sort of trains you to be like upside down. And as you're upside down, it trains your body a little bit to handle blood flow a little bit better. So Shirshasana or any kind of yoga or Tai Chi, I think will probably be effective. There's also good evidence that yoga and Tai Chi have like anti-inflammatory and stress-reducing effects. So I'd recommend yoga or Tai Chi. Specifically, probably slightly more recommend yoga over Tai Chi. And that too, some of the yoga postures that you should do are ones that have postural changes. So bending down and touching your toes, doing the hand above your head, maybe doing something like downward dog or Parvatasana or things like that. But yoga is actually really good at like having your body move in particular ways that require you to maintain blood pressure. So yoga or Tai Chi is number one. Second thing that we have to consider is obesity. So this is where some amount of exercise is actually really important, but we're going to tunnel down into what kind of exercise. So it's not just reducing obesity for its own sake, although we do know that adipocytes are pro-inflammatory, right? So we talked a little bit about that. But specifically, the kind of exercise that we want to do is going to be cardiovascular in nature and ideally has you using your legs. And why is that? So there are a couple of really important things to understand about sedentary lifestyle and the impact of sedentary lifestyle on specifically our leg muscles. Our heart is here, okay? And our heart pumps things. And generally speaking, our blood tends to pool at the bottom of our feet, right? Because of the effect of gravity. So there's one really interesting thing. If you look at your body, what you'll sort of find is that even if you look at the back of your hand, okay, it's kind of out of focus, but if you look at the back of your hand, you can see veins, right? Even if you look at like your head or your neck, you can see veins. So veins tend to be pretty peripheral when it comes to the top half of your body. But if you look at your legs, it can be very hard to see your veins. And the reason for that is because a lot of times our major veins in the legs are actually on the inside of the leg. And we actually rely on our skeletal muscle, the muscles in our legs, to pump blood back to the heart. So anytime I walk, what the contraction of the skeletal muscle, anytime I take a step, is actually helping blood come back to the heart. So one of the things that I found is that with a sedentary lifestyle, we're walking less. As we're walking less, we're getting more blood kind of pooling in our lower extremities. So we're seeing increases in stuff like varicose veins and stuff like that. And all of that is associated with a sedentary lifestyle. So any kind of exercise specifically that involves walking and a high level of cardiovascular like workout is actually really good. So this is one of the situations where, I wouldn't recommend specifically like bench pressing. So bench pressing will increase your cardiovascular weight, but like getting gigantic muscles on your arms is not actually, or your chest is not actually what we're really shooting for here. What we really want to do is engage that skeletal muscle in our legs and ideally start to exercise and get to a decent heart rate, right? So essentially cardiovascular activity using the legs is what we want to target. So that'll also have the added effect of hopefully reducing our obesity and a couple of other things. The next thing that we want to do is really think a little bit about our diet. So remember that there's actually studies that show that, let me just show you all a quick paper. So brain fog, inflammation, and obesity, key aspects of neuropsychiatric disorders improved by luteolin. So we know that some of these flavonoid compounds, specifically something called luteolin, which I think is extracted from usually olives. And this is potentially another reason why the Mediterranean diet has like positive anti-inflammatory effects, is because of the prevalence of olive oil. So you may have luteolin in the Mediterranean diet at a high level as well. So people can also supplement with luteolin, but this is definitely something that I would encourage you to talk to your doctors about, because luteolin can be biologically active with other compounds like medications and things like that. But we sort of know that supplementing with flavonoids and luteolin can actually have a positive effect on brain fog. So the other simple way to kind of think about this, though, is that if you eat nutrient-dense greens, that'll also do the trick. So it's not just healthy diet in general. It's sort of thinking a little bit about, okay, what are the dietary inputs that I need to kind of compensate for the brain fog? And the specific thing about luteolin and flavonoids is that they seem to have very positive effects on the parts of our brain that appear to be affected by brain fog. So remember this mast cell activation, this high level of inflammation. There's very strong anti-inflammatory, anti-oxidation, and neuroprotective effects of flavonoids and luteolin. So that's something that I would definitely recommend that y'all talk to your doctor about. The last thing to generally consider is to remember like two super basic things. The first is sleep and caffeine. So sleep is incredibly important. So just about every person that I've worked with brain fog has needed to have some kind of improvement in their sleep. So if you're not sleeping properly, sleep is just the general time that our brain uses to heal itself, right? So if we're like not sleeping properly, or our sleep is disturbed, or we have too many substances on board, if we use marijuana to help us sleep, if we use alcohol to help us sleep, even if we take exogenous melatonin, I'm sometimes a little bit concerned about the high level of exogenous melatonin use, even though from a medical standpoint, it's very, very safe. But I think good sleep is huge for brain fog. The last thing to consider is, once again, hydration. So this is where you just got to be drinking lots and lots and lots of fluid. So if we're talking about this blood pressure effect, we got to remember that like fluid intake is very, very important for maintaining a healthy blood pressure. So you've got to really look at what's your liquid intake over the day. Are you drinking lots of soda? Are you drinking lots of caffeine? Are you drinking enough water? How often are you urinating? What is the color of your urine? You generally want to be urinating like a light yellow color. If your urine is completely clear, your fluid intake may actually be too high. If your urine is very concentrated or you're not urinating very frequently, there's a decent chance that you're not drinking enough. So these are the last kind of two things to consider. So it's unfortunate that brain fog has been really like expanding very rapidly. I almost get the sense that there's like a silent epidemic of brain fog that's happening in our society today. And the most devastating thing about that is that as it's affecting more and more people, the solutions that we're offering people with brain fog don't seem to be working very well. So if you go see a medical professional, it's a good thing to do, by the way, because they can rule out other causes, right? So if it's something like anemia or vitamin B deficiency, there are a lot of things that can kind of contribute to brain fog-like symptoms. The downside is that if it's true brain fog, then chances are it's not one of those vitamin deficiencies. And you should rule all those things out. But then your doctor is sort of left at like, kind of like I don't know what to do. And then sometimes what they'll end up doing is just referring you to a therapist or just telling you like, oh, eat healthy and exercise, which is actually part of the solution. Don't get me wrong. But then the other problem is that once you get referred to a therapist, the therapist may be able to help you in some ways. But the real problem is that brain fog is not a psychiatric condition. It's actually a physiologic and neurologic condition. And so oftentimes what our medical system actually does is sends people to the wrong professionals. And then when therapy or psychiatry kind of doesn't work for you, then you're sort of left feeling like, okay, well, I've tried everything. Whereas it turns out that you started with the worst thing, right? Because it's not a mental illness. And then people feel really, really hopeless. Then you kind of come back to your doctor and you say, hey, the therapy isn't working. And then they're kind of like shrug their shoulders and we don't really know what to do. So my hope today was to share with y'all a little bit about, what are the mechanisms of brain fog? What are we starting to understand about it? And some of the stuff that I found to be somewhat useful for some of my patients, as well as for myself in terms of my own post-COVID recovery. Remember that your mileage may vary and that this is absolutely a situation where you want to talk to a medical professional first to get evaluated for all kinds of these other things, right? And if you do that, hopefully what we'll start to see is that your brain fog will actually get better. And I would say that like 80 to 90% of the people that I've worked with brain fog, with some combination of the stuff that we just talked about, will actually get better. So hopefully that helps you.
So mind-blowing, bro. Can I go first quick? Because I know you have a lot. So the shit about when you were walking, like the veins, like you see the veins in your hands and your arms, but you don't in your legs and your feet or whatever, and walking, pumping the blood. That was mind-blowing. I was like, holy shit. All right, man, go ahead.
I'm not going to say everything I wrote down. We'll be here all morning. Also, I think we got 1 minute to 24.
Yeah, let's wait till after 14 to break down the morning speaker. Good morning, Amanda. I hope you're having a wonderful morning.
Agreed.
That was a really freaking good one.
Yeah. I think a lot of what I wrote down too was a little bit of it repeated because he kept going back into the comparison of physical and psychological kind of side of it. So I wrote down a few things probably twice, so it won't be that long. But it's good if you write things down more than once, because then you won't forget them too.
Right? No, for real.
I love how he brought up COVID too, because that actually affects me too, because I've had it twice.
I've never had COVID, but I know that I know people who are really bad.
Yeah, and I worked at a place that had to test for it every 72 hours when I was working there. So I had one of those really invasive nose tests every 72 hours.
Oh, fuck that.
And okay, I didn't like 420.
Happy 420, everybody.
The sun's overhead, sky so blue. Palm trees sway as the smoke drifts through. Pack the bowl, take it slow. Blazing in the breeze, let the heart flow. Ocean waves crash on the shore. Feel the rhythm, who could ask for more? In the cove we live with ease, blazing in the breeze, feel the peace. Blazing in the breeze where the sun shines bright. Cannabis clouds float into the light. Feel the warmth, let your mind unwind. Blazing in the breeze, leave the stress behind. Brass notes sing, steel drums keep time. As the breeze rolls in, everything's in line. Blazing in the breeze where the day feels right. Light it up, let it take flight. Feel the smoke, it's smooth and sweet. The sun's still high, the moment's complete. Spark it up, let the worries fade. Blazing in the breeze where good times are made. Afternoon light, golden and warm. In the cove, it's where we transform. Take your time, there's no need to run. Blazing in the breeze, under the sun. Blazing in the breeze where the sun shines bright. Cannabis clouds float into the light. Feel the warmth, let your mind unwind. Blazing in the breeze, leave the stress behind. Brass notes sing, steel drums keep time. As the breeze rolls in, everything's in line. Blazing in the breeze where the day feels right. Light it up, let it take flight. Let the high roll as the breeze rolls by. In the cove under an open sky. Sun's still high and the vibe is strong. Blazing in the breeze where you belong. Blazing in the breeze where the sun shines bright. Cannabis clouds floating into the light. Feel the warmth, let your mind unwind. Blazing in the breeze, leave the stress behind. Brass notes sing, steel drums keep time. As the breeze rolls in, everything's in line. Blazing in the breeze where the day feels right. Light it up, let it take flight.
Good morning, Ayla. How are you?
That was such an interesting morning speaker today. Holy crap.
That was really good. I was digging for a good one. So
Yeah,
sometimes
no.
we needed a double song dig. But
I mean, you usually don't find a bad one, that's for sure. I mean,
well, bro, I will admit that sometimes in that first 5 minutes, I will be like, "What did
yeah,
I?"
some people don't have filters on these stories, and I don't mean like they swear. I mean, like the first one was like about somebody blowing up or something, or there was like, oh, when I was young,
Yeah,
I
bro.
yeah, I was like,
But for real, if you
okay.
can sit through the whole and get the whole gist of it, and sometimes, bro, like some stories, there's just no other way to tell it than just tell the story of what it was, which is, you know what I mean? Like, but for the most part, 99.9% of if you can make it through the whole thing, it's amazing. It's the whole, you know what I mean? And but yeah, this morning was great. I thought that I love how he broke down. I saw Christina was like, "Oh my goodness, he's talking about pots." I'd never heard of pots. I don't know what that is.
I actually have heard of it. I just don't know what it's called. I've always heard it called pots, but I know it has to do like what he was talking about when you stand up and get that little. We used to call it the head rush or the head high, right? As a pothead, we used to joke around, and go, "Aha, we got a freebie." But yes, when you have pots, it's like when you stand up, that dizziness doesn't go away. So your head rush stays. And if you know anything about head rushes, once you get them, you can fall over, get dizzy, get hurt. You can actually pass back out, and it is directly from POTS, which is low blood pressure effect. That's what it affects. So that's all I'm really going to talk about is more about how to get clarity on your brain fog, because I thought that part was the most interesting. First thing he was talking about was yoga and Tai Chi. Sometimes we don't always have time for these things or can't do full yoga. So what I was actually going to talk about is Miss Bina, who we love, Miss Bina. She does She does chair yoga, where you literally can do the yoga from a sitting position, because I know I have a lot of leg problems, and some of her full yoga I cannot do. Unfortunately, it will actually hurt me due to past injuries, not because of what she's doing. I love how he was talking about your leg muscles help pump blood to your heart. So doing exercise will actually decrease a lot of people's brain fog. And simple exercise, walking. He's not talking about, pumping iron at the gym like Arnold or Lou Ferrigno, right? Yeah, and he said it as engaged. I think it was your skeleton or your skeletal muscle, which I'm guessing has to do with your legs more than anything. Your fluid intake. I do not drink water, and I need to. And this explains a lot from what he said today. Your fluid intake directly affects your blood pressure, which is directly affected to brain fog. So low blood pressure, you can have brain fog. I love how the one thing he kept saying, which really will stick with me, is it is not a mental illness. You can go to your doctor for, say, brain fog or whatever they want to call it. It's not mental. He proved the science that it's actually a physical and neurological thing that happens and going on. And that's incredible. It was really hard to write some of his words down, so I didn't get the actual scientific technic things right down, because my spelling is bad once they go all super.
Right.
So once they go doctor, I'm like,
and
oh,
if
that
I
works.
can, well, if he starts talking about like the linoleum,
Yeah.
I did the luteolin. I did try to pop that one in so people see it, or like the Hamakar yesterday. Sometimes, but if I can, but other times like he doesn't bring it up on screen, or I'm not able to see it. And same, like sometimes 90% of words are spelled how they sound, but that 10% will fucking get you.
Yeah, and it's weird because I'm definitely sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and once the Cove is back full time, I'm really trying to get Miss Bina back. I'm sure we will. We just got to get a time slot because she has 4 teenage-ish kiddos. She's super fucking busy. Plus, she does her own yoga. She has her own yoga studio, but definitely want to. So we used to do yoga 3 times a week here, and then 1 time a week. Yeah. And now with school starting and all of this and everything. So yes, hopefully, knock on wood, we will have yoga back once a week on the morning show, because I personally had always wanted to do yoga. And when we met Miss Bina, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Miss Bina's dope, dude. Miss Bina is the shit. She's she will make you feel super comfortable no matter what time, how many times you've done yoga. Her vibe is great. She's an amazing fucking teacher, and she is just an amazing human being in herself. That is her yoga link, the Live Love Yoga, Rochester, Michigan. She has all sorts of different yoga videos, from hour longs to 15-minute longs. Advanced, intermediate. Dude, Miss Bina can yoga. She will pretzel your ass. But she does go pretty light, depending on what you pick or whatever. But yeah, sorry, quick note that I am trying to make sure that yoga comes back when we get back to full time. I'll open Monday. See.
Yeah, good. Sorry, no, you're good. I love Miss Bina. I hope she does.
I fucking love Miss Bina. I miss Miss Bina so much, dude.
Oh my god, I know. And she makes you feel comfortable in the way that, like, if this is not up to your level of yoga, please don't hurt yourself. Yoga to your level. That's why I love the chair yoga, because that's more my level due to unfortunate past sports injuries. So the one thing I was going to mention is people with brain fog have less blood flow to the brain, which proves more that it's not a mental illness. It's actually more of a possible chemical imbalance in your brain, so neurological and also a physical. So I'm not going to talk about obesity because, like he said, there's a lot of things that physically stop people from doing
absolutely
exercise.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't give crap how nobody looks, but like, yeah, for real, like the health issue, like I get that, but for real, like I say it every day. There's an exception to every rule. Take everything with a grain of salt. And so, like, for real, but yeah.
A faster growing cycle for our vegetables and all that. It has less nutrient density, which means that there's less nutrients in it. So even when you're trying to eat a healthier diet, he said, like, I'm not against GMOs, but with a faster growing cycle, there's less nutrients, which would be less flavonoids, which, sorry, I'm just trying to read something here. My writing's so bad. Oh my god. What the
All right, tomorrow our next morning speaker will be about how to improve Man Bear's handwriting.
That's right. So less body absorption of nutrients when the food is grown in A faster growing cycle it means your body has less nutrients to absorb. So it's literally the less nutrients, the less healthy you are, even if you're eating, GMO or food. So he talked about he went for a walk and he found some kind of wild berries or wild fruits, right? Those haven't been processed and all that stuff like that. And he said that there was a different taste when he went to the grocery store and brought, I think it was strawberries, and he bought the fruit and he said there was a different taste he could tell. And I understand they have to regulate things, call it not the FCC, but the Food and Drug Administration, all that stuff. But at the same time, if they're taking nutrients out of our food, so our healthy food is now less healthy. That's what he's saying.
No, absolutely. Well, and I've always thought it's crazy because
that's what I'm saying.
It's not so much anymore because of fucking inflation and the dollar menu shit is really kind of doesn't exist. Value meals and stuff like that. But a thing of grapes at the store is fucking $6, or you can go through McDonald's drive-through. You used to be able to go through McDonald's drive-through and get a McChicken for $1.05. How the fuck do you justify? You know what I mean? Especially when you're broke as shit and your bills are late and you got kids to feed or whatever the case may be. You can't go spend all for reals, going grocery shopping and getting fruits and veggies and all of that. I'm all for that shit, but that's expensive, dude.
And not just expensive, the food, and even if you want to go to the organic side of the foods, they don't last more than 4 or 5 days. So if you're not consuming a lot of what you're buying, which means you're literally spending more on food, you're eating more food, and from what we just discovered, our food is less healthy than we thought it even was, which is horrible. So there was 6 evidences of brain fog. It was obesity, general inflammation, stress, low blood pressure, diet, and then he went into sleep, which correlates all of that, So people have been telling me for years to go for a walk or go for a swim before I go to sleep, and he even brought up smoking marijuana before you go to sleep. That part of it I understand to a certain point, but that's where we go scientific on our side of it. Let's go cannabis science, brothers, because there are strains, there's less THC.
Oh, absolutely.
So he, if he's not in that world, he can't really talk the whole cannabis side of it, but we can. We can.
I do know that, I always say that when he is speaking of things like that, it's in general sense. Yeah, it's in a general sense. Absolutely. Honestly, especially I don't know if it counts. Did we smoke before bed because of 5 times 7 roulette?
That's the thing is that what I talk about in my marijuana, blah, 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 blahs, is that if you smoke and then do you eat and then burn out? Do you eat and go back and smoke and then go to sleep? There's regimens that different potheads or cannabis consumers do that are completely different than everybody. So you can have your habits or whatever. I actually, if we don't have late shows, I have a cutoff of 8-9 p.m. where I try to stop smoking because if I smoke late into the night, I might as well accept that I could be up all night instead of trying to go, I better go to sleep. And then 4 hours later, you're like, holy crap, I got to get up in 3 hours. That happened to me the other night. I think
One thing I've noticed is I have a lot of random change sitting here and I use it for bowl caps. Because I will, I'm smoking by myself. And so I'll load a bowl while I'm doing stuff and I'll go light it and I'll set it down. And if I don't get it out, it'll burn up. You know what I mean? And especially, if you got that really ground up type ass weed, whatever it may be. And so I try not to smoke a whole lot whilst I'm busy doing things. And if I do, I'm always capping my bowls with shit like this one. Fucking a penny fits over this one perfectly. And so change is dope bowl caps because they're coming different sizes. I
100% agree with you on that one. I had some out here I was using, but I stopped using my pipe because I have a hard time not smoking through water nowadays. I've been smoking for almost 30 years now. So
a couple of comments. Magic says he walks the lake in the morning, stretch 4 or 5 times a day during work. Yeah, for real. Especially sitting being in the studio shit. I try to get out and go out in the back. Well, now but I would go out to the backyard and play with the dogs a little bit. The getting up and the moving and the stretching and all of that. That's why I like the yoga is dope. I think I was telling Wally G or Man Bear or another buddy of mine, I can't remember, that when you don't notice it so much when you start doing the yoga, but when you miss yoga, you fucking notice for sure. And it's not it's just a very odd feeling. You can just tell. You're just like, dang, I definitely missed yoga today because especially when I was doing other shows and stuff like that. I'd do the morning show on Mondays, and then we would do our yoga session, and then I'll go to like do Moving Minnesota, and like that fucking yoga, like coffee's great, cannabis is great. I love smoking some ciggies, but like if you want to get get going for the day, yoga, because like after you fucking get up and moving around, all the stretches and this and that, for real, that shit will like wake your ass up, get you ready to go. You're already on your feet, and Miss Bean is a great teacher.
She is. I remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, she's. Every time like I'm in tree pose, I think she makes it a mission to make me laugh. She's so goofy, or she always messes up her right and her left, and she just takes it in stride. I've told this story before, but my favorite one was we were stretching back and like smacking our hand, and she fucking hit her hand and her bracelet exploded, bro. And she just laughed, and she's just like, all right. And it was still like half hanging there, and then she just hit it again. Like she didn't miss a beat, bro. She's like, I don't give a shit. She is such a gangster. Like I love Miss Bina, dude. She is awesome.
On the old show, I was so into yoga. I don't even remember, but I had the worst places to do yoga. So I had to put my phone on weird stands, and you could see Man Bear, like you could see my floor while I was doing yoga. It was weird, right? But I did it, and yeah, you're right. I have a lot of lower back problems. So for yoga, it's really good for me. I was a skateboarder for almost 20 years, so I got lots of problems, man.
And I would be up here doing yoga in jeans and a polo, button-up polo, and a tie, and you don't need nothing. I didn't have a yoga mat. I had 2 dogs trying to yoga with me also, and like you don't need anything special. You just got to try it. Just for real. I wanted to do yoga for years, and I just didn't know how to start, where to start, when to start, what to start, whatever. And when we met Miss Bina, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, so much. Like I love the yoga for everybody else, but the yoga was something I did for me.
Yeah. My brother talked to me about this thing called hot yoga, and I was like, okay, that sounds weird. What's hot yoga? And it's doing yoga in a sauna.
Yeah, bro, hot yoga. Dude, that shit is crazy.
I don't know about that, man. I think I would pass out personally. I can't do that kind of sauna stuff anymore. Hot tub, yeah, but once it goes to sauna, I don't know. I feel like
I remember like Joe Rogan would post reels or like shorts on YouTube and stuff like that. I used to follow I nothing against Joe Rogan. I've just been super busy. But I just don't listen to Joe Rogan as much as I would like to, honestly.
I should.
But there's days where he'll do like hot yoga in like 120-degree steam room, bro. And like he is like soaked, and it's not from the steam room, bro. It's from him. He'll like go do workouts in a fucking that shit's crazy. Oh damn. Magic said it was on acid and went to grind a rail, board broke, and he fell 2 stories into a pool. That's crazy.
Holy shit.
I bet working for Amazon is probably decent, getting in and out and up and down in boxes, and even a short burst of like walking the driveways and stuff like that is probably good.
We have like I said, we live in strata housing, so it's a bunch of like buildings that have like 5 units in them, right? So like we have a block we can walk, and I really need to start doing it. It's just like you said, there's so much going on. It's like I want to go for a walk, and it's like, wait, it's quiet in the house, everyone's sleeping, I'm going the fuck to sleep. Like
Christina said that so she was never formally diagnosed or whatever, and she refused to because it's so expensive as an adult. But I wonder, like, Christina, would that be like a sense, like some sort of like maybe closure? Like now you fucking know. You always wonder, you know what I mean? You always knew, but now you know. I don't know. Just kind of because I mean, like, I get the monetary value. Like, dude, fucking shit is expensive. But I mean, like, if it is something that would like truly give you some like hella hardcore peace of mind on like a lot of shit, I don't know. I'm just generally speaking, I don't know. It'd be something interesting to look into. I mean, for real. Just because you're an adult and just because you're expensive, I don't shy it off just because of that. If it's something that will give you a sense of closure on something, possibly. Sorry, remember, go ahead.
There's some comments about autism. I have a son who's on the autism scale. He's not nonverbal, so he does speak. And as he's getting older, I'm learning a lot more about it. And I do believe that this is a weird one. I've been reading studies about the tie to dairy and autism.
Okay.
Too much dairy introduced at a young age, like when babies won't take formula, they try to have powdered milk, or by the time the babies are a year old, they switch right to milk, or maybe like 3% milk, which is like a thicker milk when it should, to gain fat and stuff like that. But there's certain nutrients and stuff that they're saying may be tied to some sustainability of autism not kind of fading away, which I don't mean fading away, but as some young people with autism get older, as they mature, some of their autistic stuff kind of does fade away. As I noticed with my son, when he was younger, he was a little bit more erratic, a little bit more emotional, you know, like all the time. And now he takes time to think about stuff and he doesn't have emotional outbursts like he kind of used to.
Right.
And I also know a boy who's also autism, who's about 4 years older than my son. And you'd have to ask him if he was autistic. You'd have to,
so
you know, like
two kind of side notes on that. So like, it's interesting that you were talking about the dairy and kids and stuff like that. So my oldest nephew now, I mean, fucking, he's in college now, but when he was very younger, he loved apple juice and drank a lot of apple juice. And it kind of ties into like back to what we are talking about, like the natural food and stuff like that. Like, he got so many cavities, and like it was so bad for his teeth because of the apple juice shit. It's just sugar nowadays.
Yep.
And back to the autism side of things, I truly, in my heart of hearts, feel like the next evolution of human being is like the autism spectrum. I feel like the future leaders of the world are autistic people because they are so smart. They are so much smarter than your average bear, like your average person. You know what I mean? And like they just they think about things on a whole. And I know that it's a brain aspect kind of a deal, and like I understand that, but I just feel like they are so damn creative. They're so damn smart, and they just see things in a different perspective that the normal human being, normal child doesn't. And I mean, the hard part is that like it's working through the bad side, you know, the bad struggles with the autism. But I truly feel like they are so smart that like that they are definitely going to be the ones running our world.
Yeah, and they have a lot of less distractions than we do, and they focus on like a few things, as we always try to focus on way too many things in our life and other people's lives. We're trying to help people. We're trying to produce shows. We're trying to see if everybody's okay. There's a lot to everybody's life. So none of what we talk about are cures. Hopefully what we talk about is just to help you think and start conversations. And, you know, maybe some things do resonate with you. Like I say, I'm not trying to do this on purpose, but a few weeks ago, I was like, I agree with 90% of Dr. K. I think I'm down to about 85 now. Just because no, but I'm not arguing with what he's saying. But he does say things like, "If this resonates with you, if this."
I was just gonna touch on that. I love how he phrases things about like, in my experience, in my opinion, the scientific studies say, like, you know what I mean, like.
This worked for me. This
take everything with a grain of salt, and if you know if it resonates, cool, and if it doesn't, then that's okay too. You know, and I know that, you know, some morning speakers on an over, like a general aspect, resonate with some people more than others. And, you know, I just try to, you know, like there's stuff that like dives into, you know, certain aspects of opposite sex, and there's some that dive into like relationships or like, you know, he gets into a lot of nitty gritty.
Oh yeah,
but, you know, stuff that I really won't touch on the Cove for obvious certain reasons. But you know, he dives into all sorts of things. You know, like straight to like porn addictions, stuff like that. Like he is super interesting. I highly recommend checking out Healthy Gamer GG. Dr. K is amazing. Just because he will like speak to you on a real level and then break shit down and be like, this is what this fucking scientific paper says with data. So, I mean, like, you can choose to believe it or not. That's fine. But, like, the data says. So,
yeah, you can't really argue science anymore because we actually got that smart. Sorry, universe. What I did want to say is he mentioned something kind of in passing, almost like a footnote on a book, is he mentioned there's a couple of patrons of him that he couldn't help. And for me, I felt the hurt in his voice when he said that. He was like, I'm sorry that I couldn't help you. He meant that. That was like from his heart. That's how I know he's genuine. He literally brought up something that he didn't have to bring up, is what I found. Is he was like, I'm talking about something that I know didn't help somebody. I'm sorry. You know, like,
and that's why I do love Dr. K, because he's very real. He's very real. Like, even, you know, on some of the ones he said, you know, like he'll go through 40 minutes of explaining like, do this, and this should help, and this should help, and then he'll leave you with and it might not work. I'm sorry. You know, like.
And I'm writing notes down for 40 minutes going, God? Like, are you serious?
But I love it on a realistic. I mean, he, like, to put it bluntly, like, he is not a bullshitter. He tells it how it fucking is, in my opinion. And I've listened to Dr. K for probably over going on 5 years now. And It's incredible, and I love that it's, you know, there are visual aspects to it. You know, when he's talking about, he'll pull up the paper so he can, you know, show it or whatever, but like you don't miss the message by listening, and I love it because even like when I would go out on walks and stuff like that, I would listen to Dr. K's, Jordan Peterson's, stuff like that, you know.
And he busts out that damn accent, and I'm sorry, he reminds me of a Pooh from The Simpsons. He is an East Indian man, but you can't hear it until he does his little accent.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's
really, you
appropriate
can't.
to laugh or not.
He is so, you know, there is no accent until, you know, oh, what are you doing yoga? I love it. Like,
I was like, no,
so
man.
good.
I looked at Beans all the time, like, am I allowed to laugh at that? Like,
oh my goodness, I think he catches us all off guard, and I think that, you know, or I love it when he, you know, busts out his alpha, you know, like, fucking just do it, bruh. Like, just do it. Like, what? Like, it's not that easy, you know. Because I love how he will kind of like bounce around. Like, this is, you know, like, for real, it's, you know, you look on the internet on like self-help motivation type stuff, and like 70% of it's like, you just got to get out there and grind, man, and you got to hustle till you can't hustle no more. And then once you do that, you got to hustle a little more because the general person, you know, and it's like, bro, I'm trying to survive. I don't have time to hustle and hustle and bustle and hustle. Like, I just want to, like, can you just give me a message? And then I'm gonna, you know.
My favorite is wake up, you gorgeous motherfucker. It's time to fuck the day up. You're going to kick this day's mother. Like, he just keeps going off, and I'm like, I like this guy. Can I have that might be my alarm clock? Wake
I
up.
love the Mark Rebier alarm clock. The let's fuck up, bitch, let's or whatever. We got that.
Yeah. The EDM wake up. You have it, don't you?
I do. I'm grabbing it right now.
I'll mute.
All right, here we go, everybody.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go. Get up, and get the guy go. Gotta wake up, bitch, get up. Get up. Get up.
So there's a part of that. That's like a 20-minute long song. So there's a part of that song where he like goes into like it's like a break, and he's just like, Siri, can you like hit snooze for me? And then like he'll go back and forth between the auto tune, and like he'll hit the auto tune and act as and talk as Siri. Like, what? No, you told me last night to set a fucking alarm for 6 a.m. I'm Siri. I have trillions of microtransactions or, you know, processing to do. And you want me? No, get the fuck up. Like, you want me to snooze? You're tired?
Yeah.
I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, it is about that time, bro.
I know. I had to come in because it was cold. My phone was dying.
You're good. Go ahead and
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you didn't mind me ranting about this morning's speaker. I love Dr. K and all of the morning speakers. Make sure you check them out if you can. Make sure you check out Vicky Bowers. Only 93 days left to save the world. I mean, till the end of the year. Sorry. I hope you all have a wonderful morning. We're going to see you this afternoon. Much love, Beans. I know you've been working so hard getting ready for the transition, man. I'm happy for you, though, because I know what's happening, and it's been very stressful for you, and I love you, brother, and we're all here to support you, and make sure you tune in this afternoon, 4 p.m. for the afternoon smoke break, because it will be the last one of this month, I believe, until we are back on about Thursday or whenever Beans lets us know, because he's that awesome, and he will let us know. Stay lifted, stay blessed, do something nice for a stranger, and we'll catch you this afternoon.
Much love, Man Bear, and much love to all of you. I hope you guys have all had a wonderful Sunday morning. Great Chillin Sunday morning. I love the chillin', you know, beautiful sunrises this morning. I love the Vicky Bowers. Fucking 93 days left. That's crazy. Crazy Dr. K this morning. Also, if anybody is interested in being a Cove TV subscriber, $10 a month, go ahead and please reach out. If anybody has heard from Amber Hensley, please let anybody from the Cove know. Like, for real, it's been, I super concerned. I've messaged her multiple times and nothing. So if anybody at all, I do have a post out on the Cove. Please, if you could share that out. I would like that to be. If anybody, we just want to know that she's okay. So if you have heard from her, just say, hey, I've heard from her, and that's all that we need to know. It's okay. Yes, please make sure. Well, before the afternoon smoke break, we got your Bananigans coming up this morning. Yeah, and I normally hang out, but I won't. I will be up for the intro and just smoke quick, but I won't. I don't normally hang out, but I don't miss your Bananigans. I can't miss your Bananigans.
No.
And so I will see everybody at your Bananigans. And if I don't see you at your Bananigans, I will hopefully see you this afternoon on the afternoon smoke break. We're going to smoke out the studio and call it a show. I'm going to break down the studio. And Cove TV will be off air for a few days, but we will be back in action either, I'm hoping, Wednesday, Thursday-ish for sure. And get ready for all sorts of new stuff. My game plan is kind of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll do smoke break. Monday, Chillin in the Cove, we'll be back with Stoner Roulette. Real word, fake word, and we'll go from there. And thank you guys so much for hanging out this morning. It's been a wonderful, wonderful morning. Hope to see everybody at your Bananigans. Make sure you are following Sir Cops a lot. Make sure you are following Europe Entertainment because he is the host of the Europe Bananigans. We couldn't Europe Bananigan without the Europe.
We couldn't Europe Bananigans without Europe.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Europe. Much
love, everybody. Smoke one more with you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful morning, day, and all of it.
Hey, you, that spark in your eyes. I see you shining bright like the morning sky. That's got its ups and downs, its twists and turns, but every step you take is a lesson learned. When the road gets rough, when you feel unsure, just know you're a fighter, you're meant to endure. Beans is here to say you're doing just fine. You got the heart, the strength, you've got the shine. Beans, hope you have a wonderful day. You're amazing, don't forget, in every way. When life gets tough, just remember this truth. You're strong, you're brave, and you've got the proof. Every challenge you face, every mountain you climb, shows the power within every single time. So smile, stand tall, don't be led astray. Beans hopes you have a wonderful day. You've got that courage, you've got that fire. You're the kind of person who lifts others higher. When the weight feels heavy and the path seems long, remember you're built to be tough and strong. You're a rock star, a warrior, no need to pretend. You got the grit and the heart to the very end. So go out and conquer whatever comes your way. Beans knows you got this every single day. Beans hopes you have a wonderful day. You're amazing, don't forget, in every way. When life gets tough, just remember this truth. You're strong, you're brave, and you've got the proof. Every challenge you face, every mountain you climb, shows the power within every single time. So smile, stand tall, don't be led astray. Beans hopes you have a wonderful day. When the world feels heavy and you're feeling low, just take a deep breath and let that strength show. You're not just surviving, you're living out loud. Be proud of who you are, stand tall and be proud. Life's just a test of how far you've come. You're shining like the brightest sun. So keep your head high, let the worries fade. Things are cheering you on every step of the way. You have a wonderful day. You're amazing, don't forget, in every way. When life gets tough, just remember this truth. You're strong, you're brave, and you've got the proof. Every challenge you face, every mountain you climb, shows the power within every single time. So smile, stand tall, don't be led astray. Beans hopes you have a wonderful day. Hey, you're gonna be okay. Beans believes in you each and every day. So go out there, shine, let nothing get in your way. Beans hopes you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Much love, everybody. We'll see you at your Bananigans. Amber, if you see this, We love you. We care about you. We miss you so much. Please reach out to anybody however you can. If you got a fucking pigeon, like, do that. Please, please. And if anybody knows or hears of Amber, please let somebody know. Much love, everybody. Catch you at your Nanigans right corporate. Deuces, Bruces. Maybe.
Maybe.